Hey everybody, how's it going? So, things are kind of weird. Man, I tell you what, this last couple of months I think has been a little rough on all of us. So I hope you're staying safe. Hope you and your family, your neighbors, friends, and everything are all staying safe, staying healthy, and everything. And man, I hope you all are staying sane and using your penchant for making music at home to your benefit to help kind of take the edge off a little bit. I know it's been a big help to me, although for between just the stresses and anxieties about this whole pandemic, plus a whole heap of some personal stuff that I won't burden you with. Man, I tell you what, the motivation isn't exactly at an all-time high. I don't know about you. So in the whole lockdown and everything, I tell you what, YouTube is definitely benefiting from that. Just people locked up at home and bored out of their minds. I look at my analytics on my channel, and holy moly, the views are up, the watch time in minutes is up, revenue is up, and subscribers are up. Like, I can't believe how fast the channel is growing right now. Last time I checked, it said in the last 28 days, I've gotten close to 700 new subscribers, which for this channel is just an unheard of rate of growth. And it also happened to coincide with a period of time when I've been pretty mopey and haven't really been putting out much content. So I imagine there's maybe a few hundred people out in the world that click the subscribe button, and then we're just kind of like, does this guy ever actually upload videos or what? So yeah, that's just the mode I've been in lately, and I'm sure that a lot of you can sympathize. But I haven't been completely worthless, at least. Over the last couple of weeks, there's been a recording challenge going on over at the Recording Rebels, where the whole idea of the challenge was to record an entire song with one single microphone, and just use that one microphone for everything. And people have done like a really good job, gotten creative. There's been some really kind of impressive results so far. So that gave me some incentive to actually get recording again. And hey, I guess just for something to talk about, something to look at. I still have the mic set up from. Oh crap! It helps to screw your camera all the way down to your tripod mount. Sorry about that. But I still have the mic set up from just a one microphone drum recording. And hey, I figured this is interesting enough. So you can kind of see where I ended up with the microphone placed here. So the one mic that I decided to use was an AKG C414 XLS. And I really am in love with, I got a pair of them. I'm really just in love with them. And so I got to learn a lot about this microphone, just doing a whole project with just that. So I used it to record drums. I used it on my little bass amp to record bass. Use it on a guitar amp to record guitars, and use it as a vocal mic. And really got to learn a lot about what it excels at and what it doesn't. But I had no idea. I still consider myself pretty much a novice when it comes to drum recording, miking up a drum kit. So the whole concept of recording a drum kit with one mic, much less all the mics I would like, was a little daunting. So once I got to thinking about it, I remembered that Creative Sound Lab on their channel had done like a couple of videos about recording with one mic. And so I went and kind of dug those up, and that's pretty close to the position that he was using. I would have just stuck it out in front of the kit or behind the kit or above the kit. And as I tried those, I was like, too much cymbal, or not enough low frequency, or too much snare, too much hi-hat, too much kick, not enough kick, all that. So, where it's sitting right now, it's kind of equidistant from the two toms and the snare and the kick. So it actually came out relatively balanced. The one trick was I had to play the hi-hat pretty darn quietly. The cymbals were pretty good. I could bash away on those, but man, that hi-hat was really trying to take over. And then I just took that one channel and fed it through a compressor and just compressed the snot out of it. Did a little bit of EQ. And I think it actually turned out pretty well, especially given it was the first time. And actually, heck, why not? Let's take a listen to it real quick. I think I got everything hooked up right so you can hear it. I did a very hasty job of connecting everything, so I have no idea if this is going to work or not. Okay, so over in Reaper, let me get the mixer out of the way. So this was my one drum track. Let me just solo that, and let's just take a quick listen. Pardon all the timing errors and everything. I I ended up just giving up trying to drum it right. I got tired of trying, so it's gonna drag in a couple of places here. And plus, I had made, I don't know if you've done this as well, but you know, I started out with a click track, and I recorded, I think, bass guitar along with the click track. So, you know, I had that metronome, just, you know, beep, boop, 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 you know, just that mechanical thing. I can keep time okay to a metronome, but as early as possible in a project, I like to use my MIDI keyboard and tap in like virtual drums with a little bit of, you know, an idea of what the drum pattern is going to feel like. I'd like to do that as early as possible because that lends so much to the feel of the song and what you're going to do on bass and what you're going to do on guitar. And when I did that, the electronic drums, or the virtual drums that I did, dragged in spots. And so I ended up recording bass on top of that, and the bass kind of dragged along with the drums dragging. And then I recorded electric guitars on top of that, and the electric guitars dragged along with everything else. And then by the time I went back and recorded real drums, which just for me, I typically do last, because for me, it's the most challenging part of all of this. And it was, when I play real drums, I turn on the metronome, and I mean, I'm just hanging on by the seat of my pants. I'm not a very good drummer. And so it's just taking every bit of focus I have, just listen to that metronome and try to, you know, keep things in time with it. But the bass and guitars weren't keeping up with the metronome. They were dragging along with the original virtual drum track. And so, oh man, do you guys run into that kind of thing? Like that's the kind of thing like a one-man band, you know, kind of runs into. Anyways, here's what I ended up with for the drum track. Little delay on there because it sounded really dry. Little reverb, and you can see here, it's the bottom compressor, the bottom distressor, and you can see like that's really digging in. You know, I'm getting, you know, 8, 9, 10 dB of gain reduction. Let's get to the kind of louder part here. And you know, 10, 12 dB of gain reduction sometimes, so really just kind of abusing it there. But I mean, honestly, that turned out way better than I thought it would. You know, soloed like that, the delay sounds like, you know, just a lot. But really, that C414 did a great job on a bass cabinet. You know, I've just got that little Ampeg practice amp that I love that little amp. I think it's a great alternative to just running the bass direct, which is what I would normally do. But in the spirit of the challenge, I wanted to, you know, mic it. So heck, why not take a listen to what, I'm sorry to turn this into some sort of a, you know, mixing thing. I just hit record thinking it was just going to be a vlog, but hey, I got something to talk about, I guess. So the bass turned out sounding like this. Hear a little bit of distortion on it, on the louder notes. And let's see, what have I got on there? You know, RIA EQ, and I ended up with this supercharger. It's just kind of a one knob compressor. So I'm not exactly sure where the distortion's coming from. I was driving I used the BAE 1073 on all the tracks in this mix, and I found that even like at the lowest input gain settings, that C414 is so sensitive. It has a pretty strong output, so it has the pad on the back where you can pad it like 3, 6, 12, or 18 dB. And I think for most of the drums, guitars, bass, I had it all the way down to like padded minus 18 dB. And like the input, you know, so on the 1073 type preamps, they have both an input and an output, right? So you've got your input that you can dial in, so you can kind of drive it as hard as you want to get those transformers kind of distorting a little bit, and then you can compensate with output and turn that down a little bit so you don't just clip your converters on the way in. So even at pretty much the lowest gain settings on that thing, it was it was still pushing it pretty hard. That mic, and you know, that bass amp isn't super loud, and I don't even have it turned up halfway. But I think that's a pretty solid bass tone. You know, it's pretty clean. It's a little dirty. It's just I don't know. I kind of like it. And then I was actually doing kind of power chords at one point, and that compressor really bites down on them. Yeah, you can hear that distortion coming through more. So yeah, I think that actually turned out pretty good. I won't bother playing the guitar tracks because honestly, that mic did not do a great job on the guitar amps. I couldn't get it very close to the cabinet because it would overload. I just couldn't turn everything down enough to where it wouldn't distort the preamp. And so my answer was to just start backing it up away from the amp, and that just sucked all the low end out of it. Not exactly an inspiring sound. For vocals, it actually did a pretty good job. It was a little, it's a pretty flat mic, a pretty neutral mic. And, you know, for a lead vocal, it just wasn't very exciting. You know, those vocal mics have that kind of presence peak, you know, going on. And, you know, their EQ just has this curve to it. And you can hear that whenever you speak or sing into one. But the XLS is, you know, it's kind of made to be a little bit more flat and neutral, kind of closer to an SM81 or something. And I basically had to just kind of apply EQ and just kind of give it that curve myself. Here, I mean, why not? Let's take a look real quick. So we'll take a quick listen here to what it sounded like.
Take all you want from me.
Oh,
I'll give what I can to you.
And so, yeah, as you can see, I tried touching it up with Melodyne, but I didn't make it too far. It still sounds pretty pitchy. Toss a de-esser on there because, yeah, it really did get a little kind of spitty. Reinsert, so I'm sending that through one of my distressors, my other distressor, and just crushing it in a 10-to-1 ratio. Yeah, and this is the EQ curve that I ended up with. So just, you know, kind of rolled off the low end, scooped out a little bit of mud, and then kind of scooped out a little bit of the high mids and gave it a little bit of a kind of an air presence peak, because it really did sound kind of hunky in that, you know, 5 and 6 and 7K range. So that's kind of where I ended up with. And everything together, you know, turned out sounding something like this.
Take all you want from me. I'll give what I can to you.
And those backing vocals, I just left the mic pretty much flat, but I ended up sending, you know, when I do backing vocals like that, that kind of, you know, ooh and ah kind of thing, I tend to double each part and just pan them just, you know, about 20% left and right, and send them, you know, bus them together into a stereo bus, and then send them through, you know, a compressor of some sort. In this case, I ended up sending them through the RNC and an RNLA for the other part. So there's kind of two doubled background vocal parts. Here, let's take a listen to, yeah, let me see if I can find the right one. I think that's it. So like, and you get to hear my out of tune vocals and everything, but you know, in the mix, they turned out okay. Come on, focus, 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 buddy. You can do it. That's worse. That's actually worse. There you go.
I'll give what I can to you.
And so that's with that super nice mode on, which really slows down the release. And you know, you know, what did I ended up about 8-to-1 or so, pretty fast attack and kind of fast release. But yeah, it just really smoothed them out great. And then the I think that may be my favorite application. Good, sorry about that. My dog just scared the bejesus out of me. I have my my headphones on. I couldn't hear you sneak up on me. I know. That was very sneaky of you. Yes, hi. How are you? Yeah. Are you a little bored? You hear me talking to myself in the basement? I know. I know. I'll come play with you here in a little bit, okay? Yeah, okay. Thanks. Jeez. That made the hair stand up on my arms. Anyways, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, oh yeah. But yeah, that may be my favorite application for this compressor so far is that stereo backing vocal bus. Like, oh man, that did a great job. And then the RNLA, what did I do with that? Yeah, it's on the other kind of backing vocal thing. And I just did a similar thing, about the same ratio, about the same attack and release and everything.
I'll give what I can to you.
Ooh. Man, hearing that stuff in isolation, that kind of, that's a little hard to listen to. All right, well, I don't want to make this just a super long video. Honestly, it's just I hadn't been posting much lately, and honestly, I just kind of wanted to hit record on my camera and see what happened. It's kind of weird, the relationship of, you know, having a YouTube channel, and it's so just absolutely heartwarming at such a deep level to see so many people, you know, kind of coming together and you know, commenting and you know, watching and subscribing and everything. So rather than let my channel just sit dormant, you know, for almost a month and say nothing, I figured at least I'd just hit record, say hi. So, you know, hi. So let us know down in the comments, you know, how are you dealing with your kind of isolation and everything lately? I really hope that you're getting some use out of your home studio. I know for some people, it might be worse than normal because your kids are home, your spouse is home, and that leaves you less kind of quiet time to actually record something, which, man, I totally understand. But hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully you're finding a way to make some music, because I have to tell you, with everything that I've been through in the last few weeks, just the satisfaction and just that just deep joy of creating something and sharing it with somebody it really has been therapy. I mean, it's helped a lot. So I sure hope that your studio is the same kind of therapy for you, and I sure hope that you're getting some use out of it and that you're getting some benefit and everything. All right, well, I'll shut up now and I'll try to edit this down so it's not 23 minutes long. That would be kind of a waste of your time, but that'll do it for me for right now, and I guess I'll see you guys again next time.